Hi, I'm Sophie Walker, and I'm an artist and a mindful creativity practitioner. And I am hosting my online workshop now for Bridlington Art Waves Festival, which is called Colour Me Happy. I'm going to share my screen and walk you through what is involved. So bear with me just a moment. If I go to this one. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. And this is the Colour Me Happy workshop. All these people here have been coloured in happy. I'm going to start with a quote, which is from Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, who is a top psychologist. And he says that creativity is a central source of meaning in our lives. Most of the things that are interesting, important, and human are the results of creativity. When we are involved in it, we feel that we are living more fully than during the rest of life. And I think this is the perfect quote to start this with. So, what is mindful creativity? Mindful creativity is a way of using a creative process to achieve a state of flow. And Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, he talks a lot, he has books about flow, and he calls it the secret to happiness. And this is where you are so absorbed, you're in your creative process, you completely forget yourself, you're really in the moment, and you completely lose track of time. And it's a really wonderful place to be. We can use mindful creativity for self-discovery. So there are specific techniques which help you to find out more about yourself. So the creative process can delve into what's going on below the surface, and you can find out some real interesting insights as to why you are the way you are, why you think the way you think, and do the things you do. And once you have those pieces of information, once that is sort of uncovered, then you can work on changing it if it's not how you want it to be. But until you do that, then you don't know what you're trying to change. So it's a really useful tool for getting to the bottom of something. Also, decision making. It can be as simple as asking yourself a question and then making something creative while listening to yourself for the answer. Because in so many situations, we already know the answer. It's just got buried, it's just sort of hidden. And by creating this kind of creative flow state, it can just sort of bubble up to the surface, and you feel confident that you know that you've made the right decision and that you are choosing to do the right thing. These are just 3 examples of what you can use mindful creativity for, and there are many other techniques and uses for it. So a little bit about me. So throughout my life, I lived with a variety of mental health issues. I won't go into more detail because we could be here for a while. But really, these are what I call emotional health imbalances. And I believe that what we now call sort of mental health problems or issues really all stem from our emotions. Because if our emotions are high and good, then our mind is functioning in a positive way. But if emotionally we're feeling and continually feeling on a more of a negative, then that brings us down psychologically as well. So when I look back, I have always turned to art and making things and writing as well. All kind of creative processes have helped me to manage stressful situations, and I found myself in quite a lot of those. So I've always found myself all my life using creative processes to manage a difficult situation. So about 6 years ago, I had had enough of feeling rubbish. I embarked on a mission to find out what was really going on and what I could do about it. I didn't want to go down the route of sort of having medication, and sort of what seemed to me, I know that's a valid and necessary route for a lot of people, but at that time in my life, for me, it didn't feel like it was the answer. And I really wanted to sort of dig a bit deeper than that and try and find an understanding of what was really going on. So I studied some remote courses with Liverpool University and Monash University. Then I undertook 3 years of study with the School of Modern Psychology. So I combined my knowledge with art. So what I've been learning, I added a more of a creative element to it. And I'm now qualified in solution-focused brief therapy. I'm a qualified creative mindfulness practitioner and coach. And I've also got a diploma in modern psychology. Add to this my BA in design, plus a 20-year art career. So I've been making and exhibiting art for over 20 years. And that led to, in 2019, I was shortlisted for the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition. So by combining these things, I've created what I call attentive art. So enough about me. Are you ready to try it out? Really important thing to say before you start. There is no way you can do this wrong. There is no right or wrong in anything you're doing with creative mindfulness, mindful creativity, attentive art, all of this. It is very important to point out that there is no right or wrong. There is nothing you can do that is bad, is a mistake. You can't make a mistake. All that matters is that you feel good when you do it, or you feel as though if you begin with a feeling which isn't one that you particularly want, then you are taking steps towards a better feeling outcome. When you create in this way, it's different to if you are trying to do a drawing of something and for that drawing to look like that thing. This is completely different because it doesn't matter what the outcome looks like. It's all about the process. But a lovely thing that does happen is that when you do create in this way, it kind of distills the essence of yourself or the situation. And by focusing on the things that you are unlocking or practicing or working on by making the piece that you're creating at the time, no matter what the finished product looks like, it will be beautiful in its own way. There will be an essence of the situation or an essence of yourself, and it will sort of speak to you in a way that works. So for this workshop, what you're going to need is the 5-minute meditation download, the Wheel of Emotion download PDF. Now I've got a template, and you can see on the screen, I've got this little outline of a person. There are 2 of those that you can download and print off. There's a man one and there's a lady one, but you don't have to do that. That is really just for a guideline if anybody wants to choose an outline of a person, whichever one they identify with. And if they isn't, if you don't identify with either of those, or you don't want to go in that direction, then by all means use a blank page, choose a shape that represents yourself. It's completely up to you. As I've said, there isn't a right or wrong here, but you will need some paints or pens and pencils. Sticky, shiny and sparkly things are also fun and optional. And because we are colouring ourselves happy, we want some happy, bright, shiny, sparkly, fun things as well. You can find your downloads in the Artwaves website in the creative packs, and they should be available to download and print ready for you to begin. So you can either pause the video, watch it through, find out what you need to do, and then come back to the beginning. It's up to you how you want to do it. So if you go to the Artwaves website, creative packs, you should find everything you need in there. So once you've gathered all of your items, you are ready to start. So the first thing that you need to do is take 5 minutes, just sit for yourself and listen to the meditation. And while you're listening to it, really tune into how you're feeling, tune into yourself, just stop and go within, which is something that probably we don't really make enough time. Nobody really finds the time to do this. I know I struggle to do this as much as I would like to. think about how you're feeling, and when you've given it some thought, choose some colours that match how you feel. And you don't need the Wheel of Emotion yet if you have already downloaded it. You don't need to look at that just yet, although it doesn't matter if you have done. And choose some colours that you feel represent your current emotional weather, how you feel at this point. And you can either use the colours themselves, if it's paint, pens, pencils, and make some marks on paper. You could paint a whole piece of paper if you wanted to, or you could just write down the name of those colours, but just make a note of where your starting point is, so you can refer to it later and so you can remember it. And then this here is Plotchik's Wheel of Emotion, and Plotchik has assigned different emotions to different colours. And it's interesting to look at the colours that you've just selected and to see where they are on the wheel and find out what emotions are attributed to those colours. Now, you don't have to agree, and it doesn't mean it's not set in stone. It doesn't mean that if you thought you felt sort of quite a happy pink colour and actually it says boredom, you think, well, I don't think I was bored. That must mean that I really am bored. It doesn't. It's a guideline, and it doesn't necessarily automatically represent that if you've chosen that colour, you feel that way. It's open to interpretation, I believe, and you don't have to agree with what it says. But it's interesting to look and to maybe give it a bit more thought and consideration in case there is something underlying that you hadn't really become aware of. And once you've had a look at that, what I want you to do is to have another look at the wheel and choose how you want to feel. So look at the colours associated with how you want to feel and choose those from the wheel for your paints or pens or pencils. And what you can do if you want to, if you really want to get into feeling amazing, is listening to the meditation again. And this time, imagine yourself feeling how you want to feel. So I'm presuming that everybody wants to feel good. Everybody wants to feel happy, delighted, on top of the world. And what they really are aiming for is to feel completely awesome. And that's what we're trying to achieve in this exercise. So if you want to listen to the meditation again, that's great. If you don't, then get going with your work, with your exercise. So number 4, now it is time to colour yourself in. So I'll just move myself out of the way again there. So colour in yourself or page or shape, whichever you've chosen to go with, and using whichever medium you've gone with. So whether you've gone with paints, pastels, pens, pencils, whatever you're going to use the colours that you've chosen from the wheel to represent you feeling the most awesome you possibly can. So as you paint, colour or draw, keep in mind those wonderful feelings. So what you are aiming for is to really immerse yourself in this. Think about who you're with, where you are, why you feel so great. What is it about the situation that you're envisaging while you're creating that is allowing you to feel so good? Really go into depth with it and really imagine yourself on top of the world, absolutely feeling fantastic. And as you go along, you can stick things on, you can glue, collage, use photographs if you want, anything sparkly. As long as it makes you feel good, then that's what works for you. Take as long as you like with this. There isn't a time limit, there isn't a time frame. You know, you can choose to do it in 2 or 3 sessions if you're pushed for time and you want to make it really beautiful. There's no, as I keep saying, right or wrong. However it works for you, you cannot make a mistake. So as you create, you might decide to colour just the inside, how you want to feel, or you can fill the whole page. So the person here in this picture has chosen to do sort of outside themselves, which is another way you could look at it. If you do choose to do the outside, think about what those things mean. So are you doing it in a material object way? Is it people? Is it abstract? And if it is abstract, does it represent something? It will all be personal to you, and it will all sort of mean something if you allow yourself to kind of have a dialogue with it and find out what those things are that are contributing to the feeling so fantastic. So if you've drawn actual items, then that's, you know, that's great. But if it is abstract, ask yourself why the colors you've chosen, why the patterns you might have chosen. There will be something behind it, and if it contributes to you feeling so great, then it's a helpful thing if you can identify what those things are, because that will help you to generate those actual things if they're not already present in your life. So when you've come to the end of your creative process here, you will have a lovely representation of how you will feel when you feel at your most amazing. So you can feel really proud of yourself. If you then put your finished item, your finished self, whether it's cut out like these ones are, or whether you choose to keep the whole page, if you want to put it in a frame, you could photocopy it, you could put it in more than one place. The options are up to you. You can keep it on your phone, you can keep it on your desktop, screensaver, whatever you want to do with it. But put it somewhere where you'll see it regularly. So you might decide to put it on in the hallway, or on a door, by a mirror, on your fridge, whatever it is that you know you're going to see it regularly. And what it wants to do is to remind you how you felt and how you want to feel. And by looking at it, it will remind you to feel the way you felt when you were creating it. So that beautiful place that you went to when you went to the second meditation, or you started creating, that's where you want to go back to every time you see what you've created here today. And the more you look at it, the more it will be easy for you to jump into that state and to get into that feeling positive, wonderful, awesome emotions. And eventually you will be able to feel awesome all the time. So I really hope that it's been a wonderful experience and that you've enjoyed this workshop. You can visit me and find out more about my creative projects, my courses, coaching opportunities at my website, which is theattentiveartist.com. I'm very passionate about helping other people to use their creativity for anything from relaxation, big life events, coping with lockdown, things like becoming a parent, to deep self-discovery, decision-making, and up to complete life transformation. So if you feel that I could help with that, or you want to talk about it in a bit more detail, then please do get in touch. Other ways you can find me are at theattentiveartist.com at my website, my email, which is sophie@theattentiveartist.com, Instagram, attentive_art, Facebook, attentive art. And I also have a Facebook group, which is the Attentive Art Group, which you're more than welcome to come along and join in. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. And I just want to say thank you for taking part, for giving something that you may not have tried before a go. I really hope it's been exciting, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And please do enjoy the rest of the Art Waves Festival, and pop over to my website and say hello and let me know how you got on with it. I'd love to know. Okay, thank you. Bye.